So, someone can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Gobi. Like to present, like what is the new features which, like in PTV Visum 2021, and what, I'm going to showcase is the first part is the new features in Visum 2021, and the second part is the new features in PTV Bistro 2021. So let me start my presentation. So as per the chronology, okay, now with the PTV Visum development. So for Visum 2021, the focus is more on public transport, multimodality, which is which David focus on the e-vehicles, and the scenario management for the public transport. So what are the new features which has been introduced or has been improved in PTV Visum 2021 is crowding in public transport, ride sharing with e-vehicles, intermodal assignment, and auto demand calibration. So that the second part of this is what are the improvement which PTV made in Visum for visualization. So let me take you through for the procedures. Okay, the first improvement which PTV has made for Visum 2021 is a timetable-based capacity function assignment. So right now, as what as we know, for the timetable base, okay, public transport is not really it's not a function of whether how many people are boarding the capacity of the public transport. So in this case, crowding in public transport become more and more a problem. I think most of traffic modelers who involved in public transport traffic modeling, this the main question is how if, let's say, if there's the bus or train is run on a full capacity, so what will happen to the remaining passenger? So PTV has took this feedback and we have improved these features. So in this case, more people are using public transport and to achieve but the infrastructure can't handle more supply. The Visum already depicts crowding in vehicles, means the discomfort not to find a seat or a be squeezed in a full train is reflected in a higher perceived travel time. But the new functional base depicts the circumstances where the trains or vehicles are that full passenger fail to board. So the capacity of vehicle can't be exceeded and the passenger have to search for alternative route at the station. So in this case, with the new features, the capacity volume indicates that the discomfort of vehicle journey item, the time using this journey is perceived longer. And the impedance to use this journey is higher and every passenger is served. Even the capacity is exceeded. So this is the current status of public transport assignment. With the new features that the vehicle have a maximum limit of occupancy. Passenger who wants to board a full vehicle fail to board. Passenger have to do a search and alternative connection starting from their stop and time. If no alternative is found, the passenger are stranded. So this with these new features that we can find out what is the actual delay at the platform or number of people who are stranded at the platform. So what is the procedure? How we can run this procedure in Visum? So in this case, the procedure is, I think, with some of you are with the transport experience, public transport modeling experience in using Visum. So the procedure is, first we use timetable-based assignment, derive volume at vehicles, journey item, and the second step is journey items are sorted by starting time, And the third, the volume of the boarding and transferring passenger on the first overcrowded vehicle item will be reduced to the maximum capacity. So then all connection will be affected equally. The cutoff connection will start a search of alternative routes at the given stop time plus 1 second. Extra search parameters rounding are applied to reduce the number of alternatives. Then the last step, the alternative connection will be connected to the cutoff planned connection. Those connections will be marked. So in this case, as what you see on my right side of the screen, so I've put some example. So where if let's say the passenger, okay, if they find in the green line, the capacity of green line is sufficient. So 20% of 40 boarding passenger here experience a delay of 20 minutes. In the end, due to insufficient supply. If the capacity on the green line would have been not sufficient, people again fail to board on the train. So they have to consider as Visum will consider as they are stranded. So from this capacity constraint assignment fail to board, what are the outputs which we can get, which Visum will produce? Okay, first, the connection marked with the number of breaks. Number and share of passenger fail to board per journey item. In addition, fail to board without alternative. The third output which we can get is risk of fail to board. Calculate the risk delay at the end of the connection. So, for example, 5 plus 15 10. So it roughly gives you what is the average delay. And the fourth output which we can get is number or share of passenger fail to board and stop. And the last one is scheme matrix of delay or fail to board. So you can convert all the delay for a corridor or public transport corridor into a matrix format. So then the second features in Visum, which for Visum 2021, is dispatching a ride-sharing fleet with e-vehicles. So these features, okay, we have put in two main sub features, which is limited range and long-lasting charging. So limited range, okay, so where these are the range which can be included to make the dispatching ride sharing more efficient. So battery electric vehicle, define ranges, conservative strategy, calculate longest distance to recharging station in network for buffer, at minimum charging threshold return to charging facility, and recharging is priority. So no trips are served. And the second features which has been added is long-lasting charging. So that now the user can define charging time, and at the same time they can define always complete charging cycle. So these two features will improve how this e-vehicle operation in a Visum platform. So goal of the holding area. So with the e-vehicles, more optimal routing. When there's an inactivity during the tour, vehicle will reroute to chosen central location to wait for the next request. So then, but may accept a new call while relocating. Trip requests do have a priority. So also ensure the vehicle start at predefined location in the network. Previously, the vehicle randomly showed up at the first peak location. So this is for the ride sharing improvement which which you see or you can use in Visum 2021. So then the next ride sharing ride sharing features improve in Visum 2021 is the intermodal assignment. So in this, so for intermodal assignment, just on the side, let me know. Here you see, the workflow of intermodal assignment. The crucial point is that for the route search and route choice, we need travel times of ride sharing links. There's no formula which gives us the value. So we perform a tour planning simulation and derive the travel times from the experienced travel times. To add some stability, what we do, we aggregate the experience detour factor of all realized trips inside a certain main zone relation. Then the second step is we apply these average detour factors to the ride sharing links. So in my right side of the screenshot, so this is the PUT path links which you can define, and perform a new route search or route choice using the updated travel times. So this goes around many iterations and takes some time. So there's a multi-iteration required, and at the end we have a well-converged detour factor, but we restart the assignment. We could not use that as the initial value. The point is, the first search for the ride sharing in PT intermodal assignment, intermodal assignment between private vehicle and public transport. Okay, so improvement which for the intermodal assignment which has been done faster, so up to factor 2, more stable and faster convergence, a warm start. So this is how the intermodal assignment works. So if you look at this, the intermodal assignment workflow, the macroscopic and the microscopic. So the macroscopic is more of the route search, route choice, then the split route. Then after that it goes more detailed. So more detail to the microscopic level where generate trips a request, and then after that Visum will do the tour planning. Once this has been calculated, this will be passed back to the route search. So at the same time, before the tour plan is calculated, the result will be aggregated before it passed to the macroscopic. And this is how it looks like, when in the matrix format. So the result analysis. So you will see, the DRT demand, so demand response, transport demand, and the waiting time. So how long, for the ride sharing vehicle has to, wait. Same time, what is the, the demand for the ride sharing vehicle. So in case if you don't plan, the DRT without tour planning. So, it's just between, the route search and route choice. So the third features which has been improved is auto demand calibration tool. So we all know that for demand calibration tool, if model and reality have a different model split. So this tool, it's useful to analyze reason for the different. So person group in segmentation inappropriate or different behavior in different area. Extend the model accordingly. There's always remains a certain data that cannot be solved. So sometimes manual calibration is extremely time consuming. So in Visum 2021, PTV has included a demand calibration preparation. For this situation, okay, so this demand calibration preparation actually is a built-in function which you can find in Visum add-in, which automatically calibrate which automatically calibrate the demand model. Yeah. So in here, like I would just like to show that that what like with this new features that it can do more than one demand segment. So at the same time, so you can calculate the average, like the average, what is the, the model calculated work trip, education trip, shopping, leisure, and home. So this field function can take it to the next group. Okay, it can further disaggregate. Okay, it can go take takes to a person group as well. Like let's say for people, the student. So student with car, student without car, then employment with car, employment without car, then non-employment with car, and non-employment without car, retired with car, and retired without car. So here what we try to show is that demand calibration is not only by the mode or demand segment. Here you can go by person group as well. But it's limited to the certain thing. So here in this case, so it requires Visum four-step and logic choice model. So the next second part of Visum improvement, which we have included in Visum 2021, is the visualization. So the focus is more on an activity profile and SBA vehicles. So the new view, the activity profile. The activity profile follow a generic concept. Okay. So this is more for demand calculation. I think some of you, which we know that in Visum we have a standard four-step model and the activity demand base. So for the activity profile, so the activity are displayed on a time axis. So concurrent activities are stacked up on top of each other. Activities can be classified by any attribute. Activities can be filtered by reference object. Limit the activities by filter formulas. Addition, disaggregate view, and synchronization. So in this case, the users can see how like the activities are the activities are from home to work. Can be rearranged. Let's say home from if the trip is starting from home, then stopping at a shopping, then the destination is to work. So this can be like rearranged and can be displayed in this. So example, okay, then the ride sharing. So in this case, for the ride sharing trip, okay, ride sharing trip we can in the 2021 Visum 2021 visualization of ride sharing tour legs, number of vehicles in service over time, network wide assessment, utilization of vehicle, color coded by occupancy. So you can see how that you can display all this information in a temporal distribution. So just to see okay, on which part like more which location where there's more than 4 passengers like or less than 4. So then as a planner that you can identify like which are the location where there's a lacking of demand, then further checking or analysis can be or investigation can be done. So for ABM, activity-based management activity, so the visualization of ABM activities, specific location, occupancy of location, duration, and synchronization of single activities. So this does just to show number of people are traveling, to work, shopping, then other activities, and what time they travel. So all this output, which you can visualize previously in Visum 2020, that all these are in a table format. If you go to list, then public transport, then you will see in a table. But now this can be visualized in a graph. And line blocking. So for public transport planning, so previously similar. This is more of in a very tabular or table format. Now PTV has improved and put it into more graphical features. So for line blocking, visualization of line block items, amount of buses to operate a timetable, classified by journey, layover, specific to charging depot, where can define number of charging station needed or visualize the charging power needed. So the last one for Visum in where the improvement in visualization. So for simulation-based assignment, it just show previously it shows it's more of like the color classification in a color classification in Visum. So a good example is the volume capacity ratio where the bottlenecks. But now it has been a big change. So the improvement which we made is we can see when you with the SPA and the visualization output, we can see agent-based simulation. So to like the motivation for that is to better understand the assignment result, to identify network coding issue, to support calibration efforts, and to present SPA result. So it's more animation rather than it's just a color classification. I'll show you a video. So now in Visum 2021, the SPA assignment result can be viewed where you can that the user can see the vehicle movement, but this is more of an agent-based simulation. So the darker the color is, then it shows that there's a bottleneck or there's some issue with the network. This is a big significant improvement which PTV has made. Now, again, for the last two years, there's a feedback which we got from the users. Then, like this is I think the significant improvement made for the SPA analysis. Yeah. So this is for Visum. Then for Bistro. For Bistro, the highlights for Visum. So as we know, PTV Visum is more for analytical tool for traffic impact assessment. So we constantly improve Visum to make sure that the features are more user friendly, and like it assist the traffic engineers or the transport planners to utilize Visum more for TIA studies. So for Visum 2021, the highlights are, like merging models, model updating, traffic signal control list, stop bar and crosswalk setbacks, visualization of turning red eye, and PTV Visum import improvement. So let me take through. So the first thing which I want to highlight for PTV Visum, so as per FHA traffic tool categories, okay, it's a US traffic road authority. PTV products are like accepted for different level of traffic modeling. So for sketch tool, okay, they have a different level of traffic modeling. For sketch tool, travel demand, deterministic HCM tool, traffic optimization, macro simulation, meso simulation, and micro simulation. For sketch tool level, two are widely used. For travel demand, Visum is used. For deterministic highway capacity tool, Visum. Traffic optimization, Visum is accepted. Then macro simulation, Visum. Meso simulation, Visum and Visum. Micro simulation is Visum. So where our competitor, they're lacking or couldn't fulfill in some of these requirements, The next slide, okay. So in Visum 2021, the focus is more of an urban mobility system concept. The complete system with more integration and with highly applicable to large agency, bridge the gap between the traffic ops and planning teams. PT Visum is a lower cost foot in the door for the agency. With PTV, the offline product, so as we always promote that, like we have an integrated software for at a different level of modeling level, Visum, and Visum. So all these three platforms can talk to each other, and then this, like is a foundation for urban, for the plan future urban mobility system planning. So how does the urban mobility system work to connect our products? So in this case, so initially it's like just a travel demand model. So then OSM, OpenStreetMap. Then these are the input data, GTFS or other transit data. Then big data providers. So all this can be put into Visum, which can act as a transportation database. So once the input data and the travel demand model in Visum then the first expansion. So at the same time, with some of the features of urban mobility system, traffic counts and signal data in Visum, okay, can be put into Visum or can be utilized if, let's say, the information is already in Visum, can be used for Visum for Visum analysis. So if, let's say, if any agency using existing synchro or network, so this can be, automatically import into Visum. Then the third is OpenStreetMap. Previously, with OpenStreetMap that you can, create a Visum network automatically. But with the Visum 2021, we can create the Visum network using OSM map. So then the last one is day-to-day workflow in Visum. So Visum and Visum can read or talk to each other, and the process can be can be passed back and forth. So as the title, so as the statement here, PTV Visum role here is provide engineering details to the system. So again here in this section, I'm going to say what are the features which have been expanded or improved. So with Visum 2021, there's a new function called model merging example. So you can have if you have more than one Visum network, you can merge together. So then you can get a bigger model. If in another ways, if you do have if you're using synchro, so then you can bring few synchro models and merge together in Visum. So this is the example here, model 1 and model 2, then it can be merged into one. So you can see there's a two set of traffic corridor in a separate model. If let's say the agency require these two models to be merged together, it can be done in a click of a button. Then model updating. Updating base model scenario data like signal timing, geometry, lane configuration, or volume. Useful for updating peak period, time of day information, or updating base model data from a test scenario. So with the model updating feature, enables you to convert an external numerous to update model file into one managed PTV Visum utilizing scenario management. So in model updating features that you can import, okay, the turn volumes, the signal timing from a different model into a new model. So you don't need to do all this copy paste. It's just a, you can see that all this checkbox that if you want to just import the signal timing or geometry or turn volumes, then just a click or button that you can import directly into your new model. So for model updating, it includes traffic signal control traffic signal control summary to list and edit traffic signal control ID numbers. Manage your traffic signal controllers with editable description field. Provide detail about the signals, controller like manufacturer type, and last inspection of date. So under these features, that you can create a traffic signal control database in Visum. So that you can do a traffic analysis at the same time you can manage all a city-wide traffic signal control information in PTV Visum platform. So then the stop bar and crosswalk setbacks. The location of the crosswalk and the stop bar can be modified with a positive and negative setback. So it enables you to size intersection, size width for visualization, optimization, and setback to transfer to PTV Visum for accurate microsimulation. This is more of, I think some countries where the pedestrians are quite disciplined. They stop before the stop bar. Occasionally, some country or like sometimes the pedestrians tend to step beyond the stop bar. So this we can give what are the percentage of people are standing before the stop bar and standing after the stop bar. So this can give more accurate for the pedestrian crossing time. Okay. Then the second one is the turning radii. You can draw actually in Visum that you can exactly put in, okay, what is the turning radii of the left turn of each at each approach or each junction. So turning radii input are now visualized in PTV Visum 2021 to show realistic condition at the intersection. So it's previously we used to like based on a Google map or background map. But now if you do know exactly what is a turning radii, then you can define. Is it that this radii input are also utilized in HCM 6th edition multimodal calculation. So because in Visum we use HCM and the turning the radii input is one of this delay calculation. Yeah, so it means that this true result gives more accurate. Radii dimension entered in PTV Visum will transfer to Visum for accurate microsimulation and sizing of intersection width for visualization and better optimization. So the last improvement for Visum 2021 is PTV Visum import improvement. Previously, when you have the model, you have a Visum model, you export to Visum, then in Visum you still need to do some tidy up work or clean up work. But now this has been minimized. So update position like a stop bar, crosswalk, radii, medians, the exact coordinate location in Visum, and correctly size the intersection and the node structure. So this is what I meant. So with the current or the previous version, when you export your network from Visum to Visum, then you still need to do some minor adjustment. But now this has been minimized. So then the third Visum improvement, which has been improved, is enables you to create a powerful 3D out-of-the-box simulation with a click of button directly out of your Visum 2021 model, resulting in huge time saving. That you no need to create and do the same work in Visum. So once you have everything you build in Visum, when you export all the features, the 3D features is in Visum. So then the another improvement which is included in Visum 2021 for Visum import, the interchange detail or the geometry detail. So you can define in Visum, okay, exactly how the interchange or intersection looks like, okay, and once you're happy with the network, you can with the demand, you can export to Visum. So in this case, you can save a lot of time that you do all your analysis, optimization, optimization in Visum, and to visualize that you can export to Visum. So that's all for the Visum 2021 and Visum 2021